Yo, Clayman the Bull here, and today I'm going to be rating all the first 20 anime that I've seen from worst to best as a sequel to my as a sequel to my first 10 anime. So, first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reorganize my tier list since my opinions have shifted over the past however long it's been, months, and so I'm going to start off with Attack on Titan, still the best. Where did I'd say that that's like bottom of really good now. This I'd say is more like there and really good. Like all the rebuilds I'd say for Evangelion were really good, but none of them really crossed into like peak territory. Looking back on it, I'm probably gonna move Cyberpunk Edgerunners just a little bit above Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, if it'll let me, please. Thank you. Because Fullmetal Alchemist does a lot of things pretty good, but like it feels like it did standard shonen really well, whereas Cyberpunk 2077 did something completely different. And while this does the tropes really well, I prefer the stuff that doesn't do the tropes, even if it's way less, even if it has way less some episodes, even if the action isn't like sort of as good as Fullmetal Alchemist. Well, in just in like the power system in Fullmetal Alchemist is unique and one of a kind, I think, maybe. But I have decided that Death Note deserves way better. It should be toward the top of really good. And this, um, I'll leave it there for now. Let's see. Anything else that I've done that I've changed? I don't think so. It's mostly just that. Oh, yeah, and I have decided to include manga, but only if it is only if it's different enough from the anime adaptation, if it has an anime adaptation. If it's different enough, like ending is completely different, then I'll just rate it based on its ending. For something like Death Note, where the ending is only slightly changed, I wouldn't count that. But for something like Evangelion, I would count that. Or for something like, or for something where it's still ongoing, which you'll see with Chainsaw Man down here. Speaking of Evangelion and manga, I'm going to start off the tier list with the Evangelion manga. And this, definitely peak. I'm not sure if I want to put it above or below these two, because it's mostly just, I want to put it above because its ending takes everything that I love from all three endings and meshes them together into one beautiful ending that I think should be the definitive ending for the series in general. Now, for my 11th anime that I've ever seen, the Megumin spinoff, the Megumin spinoff from Konosuba, that shit's mid. That was so boring. I have half a mind. No, it's not. It's not utter dog shit. It's just way too boring. Like Megumin is a great character, but I don't think that she does well without the other cast. Because I could not sit because I could barely sit through the 10 or so episodes that this anime has, and that's barely even a show. So that was way too boring for what for a 10 episode thing. It, it was it made me so sad. It made me so sad to watch that and be annoying. Oh yeah. Also, Konosuba season 3 bumped it up to S tier. Not S tier. Not S tier. What am I talking about? A tier. Really good. I put it above Soul Eater. It is fantastic. Season 3, definitely the best one of the 3 seasons so far. Great. Attack on Titan Junior High. I'd say it's good or okay. I'll utilize the okay tier. It's great. It's a really good anime if you if you enjoy the show and want to see something a bit more like comedic, but it's not really much more than that. It's more so just an extra if you saw Attack on Titan and want more. Like, it doesn't really stand well on its own, which is an okay thing since I have Evangelion up here. But it's just this feels like a very standard sort of high school slice of life thing, which is cool since it had the Attack on Titan skin and even like the voice actors. I'm pretty sure, but it still uses a lot of those tropes, and it's fun. It succeeds at what it does, but it's just okay in my opinion. Now, Chainsaw Man. The anime on its own is probably just in really good tier right now. I'd put it right there, just below Death Note. And that's only because so far it's adapted the worst part of the manga in my opinion, which isn't even bad. It's good. It's just setup. It's beautifully animated, and Mappa put a lot of love and care into this series, and it shines. Like as a season 1, it's a 10 out of 10, but with what is but with what's left to animate in the series, it's just like an 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 comparatively. But the manga, right there, boom. That is some peak shit right there. That is some of the best that you can get to in storytelling. Well, I'm not sure if I would say I don't say this objectively. None of this I say objectively, but in my opinion, this is some of the best. This is one of the best stories out there. It takes every single expectation you have for the series, flips it on its head, moves 2 steps to the left, and levitates. And it made Tatsuki Fujimoto, the mangaka of this, it skyrocketed him as to one of like my favorites ever. He is so unpredictable and wild, and it's a joy to read this, and I'm so excited for the Reize movie to come out in Season 2, which I think that Season 2 will be one of the best seasons in anime that has ever been released. It is peak fiction. Season 3 will be good, Season 4 will be really good, but Season 2, peak fiction right here. Peak fiction. I cannot sing this show's praises enough. Not this show. I cannot sing this story's praises enough. Now, Gurren Lagann, it's good. I'd put it... Oh, another thing. This can be over here, since it's basically just a rerun of the first 6 episodes of this series. But, Gurren Lagann, I'd put it a bit below Cowboy Bebop. It's good. I enjoy it for what it was. I feel like there are a bunch of things that could be handled differently. Like, world building is alright. Like, the main antagonists that are built up throughout, like, at least half of the series are great. Like, the first half of the series isn't my favorite. It's good. It's okay. But the second half of the series is where it gets really good in my opinion. And so the point in between really good and okay is just good. So I put it in good. Simone the Digger has his dub actor is like one of my favorite voice actors of all time, Yuri Lowenthal. He voiced Spider-Man in the Insomniac trilogy and a character in Code Geass, if you haven't heard of him. He's also voiced like Ben 10, bunch of others. Great actor, great actor. Um, anyway, I'm ranting. Um, yeah. Um, so I really like Nia. I really like Yoko. I really like Kamina. I really like characters in this show. I don't. The problem is I don't have much thoughts about it. It's it didn't leave a giant lasting impression. I recommended it to a few people who I thought it would leave a lasting impression on. One of them has it in their top 5 anime of all time. Um, but to me, this is like good. It isn't like spectacular, and it is nowhere near dog shit. It's just good. Now, Goblin Slayer. This is peak okay because this show, it feels like it wants to be two different things. It wants to be a dark and broody story about a vengeful medieval Batman slaying goblins, and it also wants to be like, how do I describe this? I wouldn't quite describe it as like a harem, but like a comedy show, and like it swaps in between the two different tones at will, and so it just sort of leaves me feeling a bit what's the word I'm looking for? It leaves me feeling confused, like they wanted to be two completely different tones, and so one scene will have some disgusting, horrifying act by a goblin, followed by the Goblin Slayer chopping it up, and then it just all of a sudden has a fan service scene and a bunch of people laughing, and Goblin Slayer is like, "Oh, people are being existent. I'm going to stand here and be pretty." Like, come on. And then the follow-up movie was, I'm not sure if I'd say it was annoyingly mid, but I was on my phone throughout pretty much all of it. So, would I? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, Goblin Slayer, I want to love. I want to love that series. But it's just okay. It's just mid. Then, coming off of that low, we have Bocchi the Rock, which I'm pleased to say is incredible. Um, where would I put it? Um, I'll put it right there. It is so fucking funny. Bocchi is one of like the best. Not would I say that she's one of the best protagonists that I've seen in a while? Um, maybe she's a great protagonist. I'll just leave it at that. She's a great anime protagonist that you can sympathize with, empathize with, that you can care about, that that you can understand, that you can relate to. Um, it's really, really fucking funny. Um, one of the funniest things that I've seen in a long, 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 long time. I'll start to say, oh, the music. The music is great. Um, hmm. Yeah, all the characters are enjoyable. The music's enjoyable. The animation's great. Um, in fact, this is one of the first times I've seen them actually use animation as a concept for a gag, for a funny bit. And that to me is like amazing. So this gets to being really good. Banger of a first season. I can't wait to see where they go from here. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, some people may say that this isn't an anime that isn't from Japan, but it's in the style enough, so I'm gonna count it because I feel like it. And I put this at the top of good tier. Let me do the thing. Thank you. Like, parts of the show are okay in my opinion, and parts of the show are peak. But I can't really say that there was. I can't really say that there was enough peak to put it in really good. Like again, like a little bit of a similar problem to Goblin Slayer with the tonal whiplash, except a bit less. Except way less. Like probably the biggest issue for me is that it feels like half of the show is filler, and like not like the good kind of filler, where it endears you more to the characters. It just shows them being either just doing a side quest or them being annoying, and that's about it. Although I must say, the characters in the show are some of the best that are on this list. Like Aang is a like the fact that Aang, a character who would be the best character in uh like in some of these shows, is like towards the bottom of my list of the main characters, and I still think that he's really good. Shows just how incredible this cast is. Like Zuko, amazing character, like probably one of the best. Same with Uncle Iroh. Same with Sokka. Same with Katara. Same with Toph. Same with every single character in this show. Same with Appa. The only problem that I'd say is that Fire Lord Ozai feels like a very cliche final boss villain instead of one that has his own has a very big personality that has a bit of depth. But I feel like that goes more towards Azula, so that is at least forgivable. Well, and Zuka, so that is forgivable. Um, Fullmetal Alchemist 2003. This show was so hard for me to rank because the second half of the show is great. It's really interesting to watch. But the first half of the show bored me to tears. So I'm gonna put it at the top of okay. Because the second half was great. A lot of people say that it's bad. I found it to be more interesting than bad. I can't say that I would be particularly happy with this series if Brotherhood didn't exist, but since Brotherhood does exist, I can say that I enjoyed this series for what it was, despite thinking that um, the original manga plus Brotherhood is better. Um, I can't give too many spoilers. I can't give any spoilers. I'm not going to. Not. But like the first half basically does what Brotherhood did in 13 minutes, and not 13 minutes in 13 episodes, and extends it out to 25, half of the series. And it didn't really endear me to the characters all that much. Well, more than I already was. So it was okay. It took me 2 months to get through this anime, whereas for some that were this exact length, it took me like a week and a half. So that just goes to show how bored I was throughout most of this. Now, Persona 3, the first movie, the one that captures spring, it says. Let's see. What is this? What is the title of this movie again? Because I just viewed them as the Persona movie. Spring of Rebirth. Spring of Rebirth. Spring of Rebirth. Spring of Rebirth. There. I did it. I'm gonna put that like bottom of B tier. It was pretty good. I really like how Makoto's character was handled in this movie. Well, and the others too. I gotta say, like, the rest of the characters sort of took a small hit for me only because they didn't have the screen time that they do from the game. I mean, it's like a 100-hour game, so it makes sense. Like 100 hours condensed into like 4 hour-and-a-half movies isn't going to be like the greatest. It isn't going to be able to fit in all those extra scenes and whatnot. It has like a tenth of the runtime that the game has, but for like the movie run, I mean for a movie run, it's really good. Um, the animation is great. Um, I really like how I found the battles really cool since I hadn't seen like a Persona animation kind of thing before. I'd only played the game. I only played like Persona 3 Reload. I'm not sure if I'd played Persona 5. I was playing Persona 5 Royale at this point. I wasn't sure if I'd already finished that and moved on to Persona 4 Gold or not. But anyway, yeah, great. And Makoto's character, even better. Um, mid Midsummer Night's Dream, number 2, the summer version. I'd probably put that right there. For pretty much all the same reasons that I have Persona 3 over here, except I just feel like this one covers the events of the game that I prefer. I prefer this one. This one covers the boring part of the game. This one covers when things start to get really interesting. Now, Fullmetal Alchemist, 2003, the sequel, the finale, the epilogue movie. From what I heard someone dub Conqueror of Shitball. And that was somewhat accurate. Um, yeah, I'll probably put that there. Because it's just, eh. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about this movie. On one hand, it does something completely drastic and different and polarizing, and I love me some polarizing. But at the same time, this wasn't a good kind of polarizing. This didn't really make me think about anything. It just felt like I was watching randomness happen. And while randomness is fun, at the same time, this version of randomness was okay at best. At best, the scenes were okay. But I'd say that it's annoyingly mid and leave it at that. Now, Mars of Destruction. This was a 20-minute, I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a pilot to a show, or if this was just its own, or if this was its own thing. But it's 20 minutes, released in, like, the 90s. Like, late 90s. And it's pretty dog shit, but in a really funny way. So, if it's dog shit in a funny way, I'll put it right there. Because it basically ripped off Evangelion and so many other stories, like mostly Evangelion. I saw a lot of parallels to that. And the character is basically a stand-in for Shinji, except he's a worse version of Shinji. He's Shinji without all the personalities, so he's basically just like, I can't do this. Like, that's his whole character. And it's 20 minutes, but it's so funny. It's so ironically... It's one of those things that it's so bad it loops around to being hilarious. Like, you watch it and you go, that's stupid, that's dumb, and you laugh and you point at it and you make fun of it with your friends, and then you put it on the Jumbotron in Times Square for all the world to see. But it's so bad that it has to be in the lower half of the tier list. Jujutsu Kaisen. I have one word for this series. Disappointing. So many people hyped up this series, and there are parts of it that are great. The animation is great. The action is great. The concepts are great. This should be peak. This could have been peak. But the plot is okay, and the characters are mostly lame. With the exception of 5 of them, with the exception of like 3 of the main characters. I don't care about the about the Tokyo people. Like Gojo, Megumi, and Yuji. Those are the only characters I care about. The rest of them either are easily replaced by the Kyoto team, or they're just comic relief. Like, that's all they are. That's all they exist to be. So, I have to put this right there. Right there. Because, like, Sukuna, great villain. Mahito, great villain. Yuji is one of my favorite protagonists. Gojo is great. Megumi is great. But the rest of the characters that all get a lot of screen time are just so fucking boring that I feel like I'm watching just a group of characters I don't care about, plus like 3 or 4 or 5 that I do care about and I do enjoy watching. So yeah, this is really good. And I feel like it's weird to have a disappointing series and really good, but that's exactly what it is. It's just so annoyingly disappointing. This could have been peak. This could have surpassed Chainsaw Man. Maybe even Attack on Titan. But instead, I just wish that the characters had been handled a lot better, with a lot more care. Now, for the third Persona 3 movie, Falling Down, this was better than the first 2. This, I think, belongs right there. Right there. Because it's, well, no. No. Yeah. Yeah. Ow. The fucking noise is annoying me. I don't know why. Anyway, Persona 3 Falling Down. It's pretty good. Just for all of the reasons that I have Persona. Like, I feel the same about pretty much all of the movies. Like, they're good, but they're really good, but there's no way that they can stack up to the games because of the limited amount of screen time. But at the same time, the animation's great, and at the same time, Makoto is amazing. So, this just gets to be really good, because in my opinion, the story in Persona 3 gets progressively better, and so the movies, in my opinion, get progressively better. Now, it's time for Peak Fiction. Code Geass, Lucia the Rebellion. This goes... Hey, listen to this shit. Yeah. Code Geass is peak anime. It is so amazing. I love this show so much. All the characters were amazing. So fun to watch. The dynamics between them are so interesting. All the characters are so well written. The plot is so great. Some parts of it feel like they're a little bit on the rough side, but it's okay, since, like, every single thing has its downsides, but if its upsides are so incredible and its downsides are so minuscule that I can ignore them, that's a good show. That's a really good show. I think I place this above Attack on Titan as my favorite anime of all time, right now at least. And I give it a 10 out of 10. This is a solid recommendation to pretty much anyone who's into anime. Great show. Love the I love the world building too. Um, Action is, well, it's not like the best. It's good for like 2007 standards. Um, but yeah, peak fiction, peak fiction alone in that show. Um, and then the final Persona 3 movie, Winter of Rebirth, I think it's called, should go right about here. Yeah, I'll put it right there because this captures like my favorite part of the entire story. Um, the I, I just yeah, don't have much to say about it, but the final battle was done really, really well in my opinion, especially between the antagonist and Thanatos, one of Makoto's personas. Um, Battle between those two was great. I really enjoyed that. Not like a canon part. I'm not sure if I'd say canon, but it's not like a required part of the game. But it was a joy to watch in the movie. Anyways, yeah, this is my updated tier list of every single anime that I've seen so far. My top 20, my first 20 anime, plus some manga and the movies, ranked worst to best. Thank you so much for watching. Anyway, uh, that's all I got for you guys today.